What if I told you that one of the most heroic figures in American history was a woman who escaped from slavery, led dozens of people to freedom, fought in the Civil War, and campaigned for women's rights? And what if I told you that she did all this while suffering from a severe head injury that caused her to have seizures and visions? Would you believe me? Well, you should, because this is the true story of Harriet Tubman, the Moses of her people. Hi everyone, and welcome to Black Heroes in History, where we tell you the educational stories of our heroes of Black history. In this video, we're going to learn about the amazing life and legacy of Harriet Tubman, one of the most influential abolitionists and activists of all time. But before we dive into her story, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. Alright, let's get started. Harriet Tubman was born around 1820 in Dorchester County, Maryland, as Araminta Ross. She was one of the 9 children of Harriet Ritt Green and Benjamin Ross, who were both enslaved by different masters. Harriet's childhood was full of hardship and violence. She was hired out to work as a nursemaid, a field hand, a cook, and a woodcutter, and she was often whipped and beaten by her overseers. When she was about 12 years old, she suffered a life-changing injury when she tried to protect another enslaved person from being punished. An overseer threw a heavy metal weight at the runaway, but it missed and hit Harriet in the head, cracking her skull. This incident left Harriet with a permanent scar and a condition called temporal lobe epilepsy, which caused her to have seizures, headaches, and hallucinations. She also developed a strong faith in God and believed that her visions were messages from Him. She later said that this experience made her stronger and more determined to escape from slavery. In 1844, Harriet married a free black man named John Tubman. She hoped that he would help her gain her freedom, but he refused to do so. He also threatened to betray her if she tried to run away. Harriet was not deterred by his words. She decided to take her fate into her own hands and flee to the north, where slavery was illegal. She later said, "I had reasoned this out in my mind. There was one of 2 things I had a right to, liberty or death. If I could not have one, I would have the other." In 1849, Harriet heard a rumor that she and her brothers were going to be sold to a plantation in the South. She knew that this would mean a worse fate than death. She decided to escape with her brothers, using the help of a white neighbor who gave them a piece of paper with 2 names and a direction. These names were the contacts of the Underground Railroad, a secret network of people who helped enslaved people escape to freedom. Harriet and her brothers followed the instructions and traveled by night, hiding by day. They used the stars, the rivers, and the landmarks to guide them. They also relied on the kindness of strangers, both black and white, who gave them food, shelter, and information. However, Harriet's brothers soon got scared and decided to go back to the plantation. Harriet was left alone, but she did not give up. She said, "I had crossed the line. I was free, but there was no one to welcome me to the land of freedom. I was a stranger in a strange land." Harriet continued her journey, traveling about 90 miles from Maryland to Pennsylvania. She finally reached Philadelphia, where she met William Still, a prominent abolitionist and a conductor of the Underground Railroad. He helped her find a job and a place to stay. He also recorded her story in his book, The Underground Railroad. Harriet was overjoyed to be free, but she was also sad to leave behind her family and friends. She vowed to return and rescue them. She said, "I had no bed, no place to lie down on at all, and they gave me a piece of carpet. That was the first night, but to this day, I have never seen anything like it. It was so good to be free." And that's exactly what she did. Over the next 10 years, Harriet made 13 trips back to the South, leading about 70 people, including her parents, siblings, and relatives, to freedom. She used various disguises, codes, and routes to avoid detection. She also carried a revolver and a whistle to protect herself and her passengers. She was known as Moses by her people because she led them out of bondage like the biblical prophet. She was also called the General by her admirers because she was fearless and strategic. She never lost a single passenger, and she said, "I can say what most conductors can't say. I never ran my train off the track and I never lost a passenger." But Harriet's mission was not only to free individuals, but also to end slavery as a system. She became involved in the abolitionist movement, working with famous leaders like Frederick Douglass, John Brown, and Thomas Garrett. She also supported the women's suffrage movement, advocating for the right to vote for all women. She said, "I would fight for liberty so long as my strength lasted." When the Civil War broke out in 1861, Harriet saw it as an opportunity to strike a blow against slavery. She volunteered to serve as a nurse, a scout, a spy, and a soldier for the Union Army. She was the first woman to lead an armed raid in the war, freeing more than 700 enslaved people in South Carolina. She also helped recruit black soldiers for the cause. She said, "We got to go free or die, and freedom's not bought with dust." After the war, Harriet settled in Auburn, New York, where she bought a house and some land. She married a Civil War veteran named Nelson Davis and adopted a daughter named Gertie. She continued to work for the rights and welfare of black people, especially the elderly and the poor. She also donated part of her property to establish a home for aged and indigent colored people. She said, "I would give every drop of blood in my veins to free them." Harriet Tubman died on March 10, 1913, at the age of 91. She was buried with military honors in Fort Hill Cemetery in Auburn. Her legacy lives on as a symbol of courage, resistance, and freedom. She is honored with statues, museums, schools, and parks named after her. She is also featured on the $20 bill, the first woman and the first person of color to appear on U.S. currency. She said, "I go to prepare a place for you." And that's the end of our video. Did you learn something new? Please let us know in the comments. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed this story of Harriet Tubman, the Moses of her people. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when we upload new videos. We have more educational stories of our heroes of Black history coming up, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and see you next time.